let us in.
Sup, fellow nerds? Welcome to Not Just Status Quo's Stranger Things spoiler-filled review. For season 3.
And hey, if you like this channel, make sure you subscribe, share it with your friends, and if you like what we do, make sure that you hit that like button. It really helps us out.
And ring that bell so you're notified of future videos.
You are going to have to let us stay.
Doug, what is that you got in your hand?
Oh, that new Coke was just as delicious as it was in the 80s. Speaking of the 80s,
Stranger Things Season 3.
Happens in the 80s.
85 to be... Well, Season 3 happens in 85.
absolutely.
But it actually begins in 1984 with the Russians trying to open up a breach to the Upside Down.
That's a good way to call it. It's also called the Gate and
Portal,
Okay.
giant shiny hole.
The other stuff, we won't go any farther than that.
And they fail. So the big boss says, you got a year to make this so to Alexei, who we come to love later in the season. Or at least I did.
Alexa was pretty funny.
He was all right.
We should all have cherry Slurpees right now.
We should have cherry
Or
Slurpees.
two of us should have cherry Slurpees and someone
But
gets drunk.
nothing satisfies like the delicious taste of new Coke.
Nothing could ever satisfy as much as delicious new Coke.
And
New Coke.
you can contact us.
But then the season kind of kicks off. Dustin's away at summer camp. He comes back after a month being away. They kind of surprise him. Elle's controlling some robots.
That was
Lucas
hilarious.
gets sprayed in the
Oh.
face.
Just amazing. I love how they're setting it up to where you think the kids are all gonna like get back together, and then it just starts off with them spraying Lucas right in the face. Oh, poor kid. Felt bad for him, but I love that they remind you just how powerful Elle is in the beginning. That was pretty cool.
And, they show you how, even after all the things that happened in season 1 and 2, they're just trying to be kids. Mike and Eleven are kind of dating. And
Oh, can we talk about that for a second? Oh my God, Hopper. I thought he was gonna blow a gasket. Wow.
It's like a dad and daughter.
and
Absolutely.
I think they did a great job of, when they were talking about the heart-to-heart, everyone knew it wasn't going to go down like that.
Yeah. No way Hop was
But
going
the
to hold
way
together.
the way it came back up at the end, as kind of like Elle's reading it after he, basically seemingly sacrificed himself to close the breach, the portal, the gate, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
I thought it was really well done because I completely forgot about that letter
Mhm.
until it came back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking as she was reading it, there's no way. First of all, there's not enough paper for all that, right? For everything that was on there.
He writes very
I was
fast.
kind of thinking the same thing.
And some of
like-
that stuff that he didn't know until after that, events after that happened. So it was a nice thought, but it obviously wasn't his note,
Mhm.
See, and for me, I think I really like this season, but I think my biggest problem with this is the Russians somehow were able to build Starcourt Mall with this huge underground facility without the U.S. government knowing. And normally I would say it could happen, but the fact that the U.S. government was there years ago knowing the power of the city, and this is the closest part to get to the Upside Down, there's no way they would let a buffoon mayor...
I was about to
Have-
say, I think they hinted at that with
played by
the
Carrie
mayor.
Elwes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they made it seem like he was aware of what was going on and that he kind of allowed it.
He did, but there's no way the government, knowing the power of what's there, would let that happen. In my thought, it kind of irked me. I liked the show, everything about it, but the whole time I'm like, the CIA would keep tabs on that town to make sure that no powers were coming in to try to steal it.
I
But
agree.
it
but
would have
at
been
the
a terrible show without the Russians.
At
You're
the same
asking
time, I see
for
this.
realism here.
I see this as just, like I said, just an ode to all of the cheesiest 80s tropes that you can imagine. I mean, they had
Kinda like
a
Ready Player
giant
One.
mall, neon everywhere, everybody's wearing beautiful shirts like this, adorned with as many bright and gaudy colors as possible. Surprised we didn't see more fanny packs. Everybody had huge hair-sprayed hair. It
You
was...
know?
And of course, as you mentioned, the Russians were the bad guys.
Yeah, and just as they are like today in society. But
Okay, so that hasn't changed.
individually,
It changed for a while.
It changed for a
and then it
while.
came back.
Then it
Then
kinda
it
came
came
back. The 80s are coming back, guys.
But when I saw that mall, and I just, all the kids in it having fun, I was like, man, that took me back, because I like to hang out at the mall
Yeah.
when I was like when I first got my license. It's not like that now. All the malls are closing now. So it kind of took me back. It was kind of cool. You could work like Steve Harrington. You could work in what was it?
Scoops Ahoy.
Scoops
Yeah,
Ahoy.
Scoops Ahoy.
You could work there, and you probably make enough money to go to college in the fall. You know what I mean? Back in the '80s.
Yeah, no,
You
you
know, so-
absolutely could.
Mhm.
And we get into all the kids kind of going their separate ways. We kind of get
Yeah.
everyone down their own path. You kind of get Dustin with Steve and Robin doing their thing in the mall,
Mhm.
and you have Elle and
Oh, we should say who Robin is.
oh yes,
New
Robin.
character.
New character, works at Scoops Ahoy, and for those of you that don't know, she is the daughter of Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. So if she looks familiar, she looks a little bit like Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman.
There you go.
Once I found that out, yeah, I could see both of them in her.
Yep.
Yeah, so she's basically the manager at Scoops Ahoy. She's, I believe, Steve's boss, and she's the one that's kind of keeping him on track and actually doing his job, because if it were up to him, he would just be there hitting on girls the entire time, because Steve, he's kind of in this weird place where he doesn't quite know what to do with himself. He's graduated high school. He doesn't really have a plan to go to college or anything. He's, like that guy who sort of hit his peak in high school, doesn't really know what to do with himself, and so he thinks that his ultimate goal is he's got to get a girlfriend. That's what he's got to do. He's got to get a girlfriend, and that's what he's trying to do while working here at his job as scooping ice cream cones. But Robin is here to try and
And she
keep
keeps
on track.
count of all the times he's turned
Yes.
down, which was
Oh,
awesome,
amazing.
because she's even putting it before they say no, but
Right.
we know it's coming. It was just
I thought it was cool. Like, obviously there's that history with Steve and Dustin, and when Dustin came in there, and then they're all like, "It doesn't matter, drop everything. This is my boy." You know what I mean? And they're all cool. That was really cool.
My boy Blue.
and her line,
Yeah.
and Robin's line. How many kids are you friends with?
Right.
That was great.
Yeah, I did think I felt bad. I can't say I didn't like it, because I liked the whole show, but I felt bad for Dustin's character for not being with the rest of the group for most of the time.
But I think it kind of worked. I think
Yeah.
they needed to, have them break off. You got Dustin and Steve and Robin, breaking that Russian code that he picked up on
Yes.
Cerebro. Nice X-Men reference. That's awesome. And then you have Will's brother and Mike's sister working at the paper, where
Yes.
I think they nailed how women were treated in the 80s in a working environment, with how they treated her, but she just keeps trying to do, the right thing, not necessarily the right thing,
Just
but
follow
things
the
to
story.
advance
Yeah.
her own career.
She's
and
trying
it
to
ends
prove
up-
that she can do more than just bring them coffee.
Correct.
And I thought in the end that it was going to work out for her. And before it all got before it all got heavy, not hairy. When she was in there and she brought the story to him in front of all the guys, and then there was one moment where he seemed like he was going to say, "You know what? That story's real," but then he just ripped on her. I thought that they would have her break through, kind of Lois Lane type, but then this was the '80s. It's not that kind of movie or show. I mean,
Yeah.
so more
And,
realistic.
and then you have not Will, but Mike and Lucas, and them going their own path. And they basically, Hopper and Will's mom, I can't remember anyone's name. I used to remember all these names, I just can't anymore. But they're all going down their own path. They're all finding out about the mind flayer getting back, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all while Billy, our favorite Neanderthal from season 2, basically
Old Billy.
gets possessed. Maybe not possessed, but his body kind of taken over by this.
It was very reminiscent of Body Snatchers. That's what I would say it was the closest to. He's sort of just, I guess possession isn't too far off. He's taken over by creatures from the Upside Down, and they're basically using him to sort of form their Earth-based army.
Well, it was one creature sharing itself subjectively.
Yes.
True.
And he's actually, getting other people. When he goes
Yes,
back and he's
he's
having
recruiting
a
them.
really rough day at the pool, having the nightmares and everything, and then the other lifeguard comes to see if he's okay, and he ends up basically knocking her out, and dragging her to the mill.
Did you notice
Yeah.
how the sun was affecting him?
Yes.
Too? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, you start wearing hoodies. And
So it was
sweatshirts.
almost like it wasn't just taking over his mind. It was almost like it had complete control over his body to the point where he was picking up its weaknesses too.
like what happened with Will.
True. Yes.
year.
That you were absolutely right. And can I just say that it was nice to see that he wasn't kind of relegated to being the kid that was affected by the Upside Down again. I was kind of disappointed in the way that they did him in season 2, where he was basically in a hospital bed the entire time, and I'm glad that they didn't do some weird mystery in the house like the Christmas lights and then with the
Yeah.
map and everything. It was nice to just get to see him be able to sort of do something with his friends, even though they were all kind of going their separate ways.
You know, and basically, you know, Steve and Dustin are kind of break into that secret vault,
Yeah.
find out the Russians, while Hopper and the mom kind of get Alexei and
Yes.
take him to one of my favorite characters, the
from
conspiracy
last
guy.
season too. Yes,
Yeah,
he was
take
great.
him who could speak Russian, and they're finding all of this information out. Once again, all coming together. You know, Billy's collecting his people. 11 knows about Billy. I really like the scene when they are like, you know, the Mind Flayer hates hot, so let's trap him in the sauna.
That was a really
And-
smart idea.
Mm-hmm.
That
You know,
was
and
good.
that's what these kids have done in every season. They're really smart kids, and they've gotten past people not believing them. When they say something's up, you know, it was that first season, I think only, you know, Will's mom really believed him at first, but then as things pop up, everyone's kind of buying in and they all come together.
Mhm.
And the fact that they've been through these 2 seasons, they didn't do the old, oh, those kids again with their silly stories.
That's good.
They knew that
Yeah.
this
Yes.
stuff was true, and I thought they played that off really well. And, you know, we get all the way through the story. They're, you know, finding everything out. Everything's coming together. And you get to basically the final battle. And we've skipped some stuff, but you should watch it. I think 80 million people have already watched it, so you probably already watched it. So
It's
you
only
don't
8
need-
episodes.
yeah, we
Watch
don't-
it.
We don't need to discuss
Okay.
every detail.
If you haven't seen it by now, what are you still doing here? Go watch it, then come back.
I closed the gate.
We get to the final battle at Starcourt Mall. And a lot of things were coming together, and then they kind of split off again.
Yeah. So I really like how everything kind of culminated at the end there. So you find out basically what the Mind Flayer's ultimate goal is they're kind of creating an avatar for themselves, and that's what they were having him do when he was gathering all these people up, and basically turning them to this gelatinous goo flesh monster to come and fight the kids, because they knew they needed something. They knew how powerful 11 was, and they needed something that they thought this was going to be it. So now all the kids have to go up against it, but we end up finding out that should I give it away with 11? So
spoiler filled.
yeah, so she ends up losing her powers. So she can't really do much to fight it, but the hero of the season, the hero of the episode, was a car.
Christine. No, I'm just,
Just about. I mean, so, you know, cars would come. It depended on the scene, but this happened multiple times. Watch the season for yourself. I'm
Well,
sure
when
you probably
Billy's
picked up-
driving at the station
mall.
wagon, Steve Harrington comes
Yes.
up. Elle throws the car
Yes.
there was tons of places where cars, you know, and I kept thinking too, while I was watching this, I thought the Mind Flayer was very low key at first because it was just taking rats to build up. But then it just got to some point where it's like, okay, this is taking too long. I need to start taking those big things that are
Yes.
walking around because I'll be able to grow much larger, much faster. And we do see it in its final form at the mall, which,
It got pretty damn big.
and I don't know how much they spent on the CGI for this. They did a great job. I thought
Oh,
it
yeah.
looked great.
It was definitely very disgusting looking. So hey, good job if that was your goal. I mean, it was kind of. I mean, if you think, okay, what would a giant gelatinous flesh monster look like? Hey, there you go. You got it. Every movement it made, you could kind of hear just like squishing and bones crunching. It was just.
I watched it with the closed caption on.
Oh.
It's called Squelching.
Squelching.
Excellent. You learned it
Okay.
here first, kids.
That's right.
Squelching. Oh,
We saw rats
course.
squelching. We saw humans squelching.
We saw rats and humans squelching together.
I think this is the most
Mass
squelching I've ever
hysteria.
seen in one television show.
I get it. Ghostbusters reference, folks.
Yeah.
I wanted to speak about from like I don't know if it's what you would call it a filmmaking perspective, but when they all came together, then they all devised a plan, and they all had to split up again, and then they went back and forth between the battle scenes.
Mhm.
I thought, like I was just telling Keith before we shot this video, I thought it was very Return of the Jedi, where they'd have each. When it was getting interesting in one fight, they would switch to the other fight, and they'd be about the same spot in those fights, and it worked for Return of the Jedi, and I think it worked here.
Smooth cut in between each scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree. I really like the way that played out. I think one of my other favorite scenes in that episode, or maybe it was the episode right before the last one, where they all come together and they're all sort of announcing the same exact thing that they've all been coming to find out, and it was just like, wait a minute, we've all been tracking the same thing. Yes, there's evil Russians. They're trying to open a portal to the Upside Down, and they're all like, why didn't we just do this together?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It wouldn't have got done if they had done it together.
That's true. Yeah, I'm kind of glad they did it the way they did.
I am too.
It was
It's-
definitely a little bit different. I was really hoping that they would make it different from the prior season, because I did not want them to rehash season 1 again. Season 1 was great, but do something a little bit different if you want to keep us interested, keep it going.
And they did. I thought they handled it very well by
Mhm.
making it different, but still making it the same.
Yeah.
A part that I think a lot of people were very sad about. I know I watch it with my wife and kid. Hopper, Will's mom, and the Russian conspiracy guy, who I can't remember, after poor Lexi died, earlier on at the fair, from the Terminator guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Which-
yeah. Forgot to mention that.
Still not a big fan of it. I thought
Yeah.
they kind of overdid his parallels to the Terminator, but I get it. They're doing a lot of 80s things. But when things are going awry at the Russian facility, and you know that basically Hopper is going to die, he's fighting the Terminator down there. You know that he's probably going to be caught in the blast. And I know
Mhm.
a lot of people were very sad, but I think we're all in agreement. I don't think any of us think Hopper's dead.
No,
No,
I
absolutely
think-
not.
we might have different theories on where he is.
I liked your theory. I'd love you to tell the fans.
And yeah, well, let's talk about it now. For those of you who didn't stay for the post-credit scene, you should have.
Why? You should know to do this by now. How many movies have we talked about post-credit? Come on, guys.
How
Let's
many
go.
TV shows now?
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty much everyone does it now, and it's
Everybody
a nice
does
way
now.
to lead into the next season. But we see a Russian base, and they got one of the little upside down monsters there, and they're walking past, and I go, "Should we get the American?" They go, "No," and they pull it out. And a lot of people I know think that American is Hopper, but I don't think it is. I think it's going to be Matthew Modine, Elle's papa from season 1, who kind of got sucked into the upside down, and I don't think we ever saw again that I can remember. And
Mhm.
if I'm wrong, comment, let me know. But I do think it's going to be Matthew Modine's character to kind of throw us that curveball in season 4. But I think Hopper is in the upside down.
That's
And I think
yes.
part of season 4 is going to be them finding this out and going in to rescue him. Because, Elle is going to want to, rescue Hopper because they had a very close.
Well, he's basically his father.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. But yeah, no, I absolutely love that theory. I think it makes sense. The fact that they were, blasting the hole open into the portal. You didn't see a body, and what's the rule with?
I'm not saying anything.
Okay, but what's the rule with TV shows and movies if you don't see a body?
They're not dead.
They're not dead. I didn't see anything. I think you're right.
I also read that in a Batman comic today.
Yeah?
Yeah, no body, no death.
Hey,
And Batman comics would not lie to us.
No.
never.
Have to stop him. Together.
Told you guys you should have stayed for the after credit scene.
And here's ours. We need to rate it. David.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. I give it 3 morphs out of 17. No, I'm going to go out of 10. I'm going to go normal on a TV show. We'll save that for the movies. I'm going to give it an 8.5. But I still think the first 2 seasons were better.
I am also going to give it an 8.5. I think it was better than the second season. I didn't care for the second season as much. It was fine, but I preferred the first, and I really liked this season much better than the second.
See, I'm going to give it a 7.8. Like I talked about in the video, the whole Russians being able to build that base on our nose just irked me. I know I'm watching this science fiction show and I shouldn't do that, but it's all subjective, and that's kind of what I got. But I did enjoy it. I mean, I thought it was better in season 2 also. Season 2 kind of dragged. Season 1, I thought they did such a great job with all the mysteries. Season 2 kind of dragged, and now season 3 took it in a whole new direction and kind of got that almost action sci-fi thing going with the Russians, and it's bringing in a lot of new elements. And I thought, for the most part, everything worked outside of the Terminator being way too Terminator-y in the base. But I definitely thought it was a great season, and I'm looking forward to season 4.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, definitely. If they end up making the season 4, I can't wait to see how they answer it. If they end up bringing back any of the other kids from the lab, love to see what ends up happening next.
Is it going to get gorier?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, I think
they really amped it up this season.
They did. But now the big question. Anytime we review a TV show here at Not Your Status Quo, we have to ask Dave, is it better than your favorite show, Smallville?
Absolutely not. No, Smallville would be here, and right about there. Stranger Things right about there.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Holy mother of God.